besties, welcome back to this week's video. I'm going to be doing a fun thriller reading vlog because I was reflecting on all the books that I read this year and I realized I think I've only read 2 or 3 thriller books for the year. And as someone who used to love this genre, that's so shocking to me because, like I said, when I first got back into reading, thriller and mystery books were my favorite books to read and I enjoyed reading them so much. So I would normally read like 5 to 10 books a year that were thriller and mystery genre focused, and this year fantasy has definitely won out. I've definitely been reading a lot of fantasy books followed by romance, so I decided that's got to change. We're still in October and I feel like thriller mystery books are the perfect book to read in October. So that's what this vlog is going to be focused on, reading thriller books. I'm currently reading Wrong Place, Wrong Time, and I'm like 14% into the book, and I thought it was going to be like a Groundhog's Day storyline, but it's kind of like Groundhog's Day. So like the bad event happened and that's where we are immediately starting the book on. So like someone dies and then our main character's POV, she like wakes up the next day and realizes it's the same day. So she's like, oh my God, is this gonna be a Groundhog's Day type of thing? But then she goes to bed and then wakes up and it's the day before the day, like the Groundhog's Day. So basically we're like kind of going back in time, and I think she's supposed to stop something that's supposed to happen. I don't know. Not quite sure what's gonna happen yet. Like I said, I'm only like 14% in, so we're still like getting introductions to characters, kind of trying to figure out the plot a little bit. So there's definitely a mystery around our main character's son. We don't know fully what's going on there, but he seems to have questionable friends right now and is doing questionable things. So curious to see where this goes. I don't have any guesses right now. For me to be thoroughly entertained with these books, like thriller books, I need to be surprised, I need to be shocked, and if I can't guess it, then I think that's great, but also like it can't just come out of left field. Does that make sense? I feel like there are a lot of requirements for thrillers, but yeah. Anyways, so that's the vlog. Also, I'm wearing this cutesy little fun dress that I had to show you guys, but it's like a long dress. I'm wearing white little sneakers. I'm obsessed, it's really cute. And I'm gonna go run an errand really quick, so I thought it would be just like a fun moment to wear this cutesy little dress. Anyways, also I want to make pumpkin bread. I realized I haven't made pumpkin bread at all so far in spooky season or like fall. So that is high on my to-do list. Reading thrillers and making pumpkin bread. Guys, it's a little later now and I've changed into a comfy sweatshirt because I'm basically just going to be chilling at home the rest of today. I haven't read anymore. I did eat lunch. I made a homemade Caesar salad wrap and it's so good. Sometimes a nice crunchy Caesar salad wrap just hits so hard. But what I'm doing right now is I'm trying to like prep some photos and just content for Instagram, the reels, the shorts, and just try and figure out what to do. So I'm currently trying to just show off my new Emily Henry Beach Read copy. I don't know, did I like share this with you guys on the vlog? I can't remember if I did or not, but this special edition of Beach Read came out and she's just stunning. Like, I personally am a huge fan of this edition. I've seen people say like it's not their favorite, that they don't fully love it, but I love it. And then also when you take away the cover, I just think this is a beautifully bound book. So I want to showcase it right now and take some photos. I'll probably do like an Instagram post or something, and then I was also thinking of maybe doing a post for Abby Jimenez because I've realized she's become one of my favorite authors and I need to do like an appreciation post for her. So that's currently what I'm doing, just like prepping some short form content. And yeah, and then here's my Emily Henry collection and the paperbacks. I'm a paperback girly for Emily Henry, so that's what I like to collect from her. I made the exception for this special edition of Beach Read because that is still my first love and my favorite from Emily Henry. And I'm now just waiting for Funny Story to come out on paperback, so that will get added eventually. But yeah, anyways, I just love her books. They're so fun. So that's what I'm doing right now. I'm trying to figure out how to like pose all my books and stuff for this photo. So let's see how that goes. in for a reading update. I am now 30% into the book, and we honestly haven't learned terribly much. We've just gained better clarity on the timeline that is going to be happening in the book, because when you first read it, you might think it's a Groundhog's Day where she's repeating the same day over and over, but come to find out she's kind of in a timeline loop. So our main character, the mom, is now reliving past days, so not the same day, but past days that would have led to the event, the murder that happened at the start of the book. And she's kind of figuring out that each day she needs to be learning something else that could maybe unravel the mystery of how her son ended up killing this person. And she's theorizing that if she were to like solve or prevent it from happening by going back in time, then maybe the murder won't happen. So, and that's how she thinks she'll break this timeline loop, if that makes sense. It's kind of a little confusing, and she's only going to days that basically are pertinent to solving this murder, because she originally went back 3 days like in a row, back to back, so like 3 days before the event, and then she time jumped like a week or two after, or like later. Does that make sense? This is so hard to try and explain this. My only other note on this is I don't know if I love the writing style. It's easy, don't get me wrong, it's very easy to read. I just sometimes feel like we get information that maybe is not relevant, and watch me say this and be confused about things later on in the book. Like, I understand a lot of the times authors and mystery and thriller books give you this information to help drop nuggets and clues of information along the way, but sometimes I feel like it's just a smidge too much. Like, these details I'm like, I don't know. So that's my only complaint right now, is I feel like we're getting a lot of info dumping about certain characters, so I don't love that. But we have gotten to meet some other characters in this world, and that's been interesting. There's some shady characters, obviously, and I feel like they're there to throw us off. For some reason, I feel like the husband, there's something going on there. I don't know how to explain it, but I just feel like maybe the husband is involved somehow. I'm not 100% sure, but that is about it. That's like all I have to say. I'm trying not to give too much away, because if you read this book, I want you to be like going in basically without too much information. That's how I love going into thriller books, without like a lot of info. I honestly love going in blind, because then I feel like it levels expectations. I do know people really enjoyed this thriller / mystery. I think it's going to end up being more mystery than thriller, which is totally fine, but I know it's a favorite. I know people, when this book first came out, people were raving about it. It has a really good Goodreads rating, so I'm trying to keep all that in mind while I'm reading this, but it's okay so far. I honestly don't know how it's going to end, so I do love that, but that's my 30% reading check-in. Good morning, friends. It's a few days later. I currently have under eye patches on, and I have a little break from work, and I figured I could give you a little reading update on Wrong Place, Wrong Time. I'm currently 68% in, so I'm really far into the book now, and we have uncovered a lot more puzzle pieces to the overall story, and we're now trying to figure out how they all fit together. And originally, we thought our main character was going back in time to prevent the murder that her son commits at the beginning of the book, but we're realizing, nope, we're going further back in time because her husband is involved, and she's kind of having this whole like, I can't believe I didn't realize my husband's not who he says he is. So we're having to figure out now, like, how involved is the husband and how far back does this truly go? So we're going pretty far back in time. Like, we're now several years later, which is kind of crazy. And then there have been some small little reveals happening, some that I didn't fully see coming. I definitely saw the husband being involved. Like, I just knew he was going to be someone who he wasn't. So I'm not shocked by that, but there are some, like, I guess, like, character developments that have happened that I was surprised at. So that has happened. Basically, I don't know if I'm like fully into it, because I feel like the whole going back in time plot line is now kind of getting old. Like, I don't care. Like, let's just get back to that point in time where it all started. Like, I'm kind of getting annoyed at like going back a day, or like these awkward moments in time. So that's just a little bit that I'm not into right now. Like, the pacing of it is just not for me. The writing style, again, I don't know if I mentioned this before, but I personally think in thrillers sometimes, and in mysteries, they just info dump or like give us too much into the subconscious or inner thoughts of our characters, like emotions. And sometimes I feel like they're not needed. Like, I just don't care if I just don't. So I'm struggling not struggling, I just like don't care. So I will be like, I skim over those parts because I'm like, I don't see how there is any value here. Obviously, when it comes to like describing characters and like their behaviors, I pay attention more because that's usually how you can tell a lot if a character's like a red herring or if they're actually a big player. So I pay attention to those moments. But yeah, so I think we're sitting at a 3-star rating. It's just not for me personally. I am enjoying it. Like, I think seeing how everything works together and fits together in this puzzle is fun. And I do think this storyline and like the plot device of going back in time to try and figure it all out to help argue and to build a case for her son in the future, I think that's interesting. I think that's like an interesting take on it, but it's just kind of boring at times and I don't care. So yeah, those are my initial thoughts. I'm hoping to finish it today. We'll see. Yeah. So sadly not going to be a 5-star. And like I said before, I think at the beginning of this video, giving a 5-star to a mystery thriller is so rare for me that it rarely happens. Like, it's so rare. So I'm not shocked that this is not a 5-star, but people did hype this book up. Like, I posted this on my Instagram stories and people were commenting saying like they loved this one and that it's very interesting and unique. And I do agree, it's unique, it's interesting. It's just not 5 stars for me. Also, this is definitely leaning more towards mystery rather than thriller. I realize the thrillers that I like are the psychological thrillers, the one that's like a mind fuck basically, and by the end of the book you're sitting there left like, oh my god, did I just read that? And like you're staring at the wall trying to like process everything. So anyways, that's just my 2 cents on the book right now. That's all I gotta say. Anyways, I also really love these eye patches. Gosh, they're so good in the mornings. Highly recommend. I think they're the Star Kitten brand that I talked about in my last video. Love them. Very content with them. Alrighty friends, I finally finished Wrong Place, Wrong Time, and I wanted to share my final thoughts and wrap up this video. So overall, I'm giving this book a 3-star rating, mostly because the writing overall just wasn't for me. I just couldn't connect with the characters that well and overall the story, and because of that, I just didn't care. I didn't care what happened and I didn't care how it happened or when it was going to happen or when the reveals were going to happen. So that connection was lost, and so therefore by the time the book finished I was like kind of like relieved that it was over and happy to be done with it. However, there were still elements that I really enjoyed with this story. The main one being, I think, the plot device of going back in time. I thought that was really clever and a fun way to figure out what was going to happen. And as we were going back in time, connections were being made and you were starting to get more and more pieces of the puzzle. And I just thought that was really clever. I personally have not read a thriller book that had that storyline or that plot device, so I thought that was really fascinating. But because I didn't care, I just was like kind of over it, kind of 75% through. I was just like ready to finally get to the end point and see what would happen and how it's all gonna wrap up. So it's like a pro and a con for that one. And then I liked how she connected some of the characters and how it all wrapped up at the end. I thought it was very interesting, and it's kind of commentary as well on the butterfly effect. So I really enjoyed that aspect of it, but it was a fine mystery book. Like, it wasn't anything special for me. I can see why people love this just because it's very unique, but at the end of the day, I think it's just fine. I don't think I'll reread it, but I will recommend it. If you are looking for like a cozy kind of mystery, it's definitely more mystery than thriller. I definitely would check this out because it was interesting, it was entertaining, and I thought it was enjoyable at moments, so I would recommend checking it out. And that's officially going to be it for this week's video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you've read this book, let me know your thoughts down below, or if you have any good mystery thriller book recommendations, please send them my way. I'm actually desperate to have like a 4 or 5-star thriller read. It's been so long since I've had a thriller just like sink its teeth into me and like I'm obsessed with it. So definitely leave comments down below with recommendations because I'm on the hunt now for it. This has reinvigorated my want to find a 5-star thriller book. So I'm always looking for suggestions. So please leave them down below in the comments, and I'll catch you on my next video. Bye guys.